Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today we will be rating every player's performance from Tottenham Hotspur's embarrassing 1-0 loss to Wolverhampton Wanderers, as an Adama Traore goal in the 82nd minute did the damage against the Lily Whites and shorted them of the opportunity to go 7 points ahead of 5th place Newcastle, who lost early on today against Manchester City. Before we get into it, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what your ratings of the players are and who you thought our man of the match was. And we will start with goalkeeper Fraser Forster, who I'm going to give a 7.
I'm also going to give Fraser Forster a 7. He made some key saves today.
Yeah, he was pretty much the key in us staying in the game for most of the second half. He was the only reason we were still really in contention. We dropped off a lot after probably the 65th minute after not making a sub, while Wolves had made about 4 or 5 subs in the 65th minute, which completely refreshed their attack and changed the game for them. But really, Forster was key until then. Good save to deny Jimenez, but really should have parried it a little better spot rather than right in front of him, because I feel like a lot of the goals he's conceded this season have been rebound goals. So that'll be something to look at for Forster. But overall, he was probably one of our better players today.
Yes.
We'll move on to our defense, starting with Christian Romero.
I'm going to give Guti a 6.75.
I'm going to give Christian Romero a 6.5. I thought he was probably our best defender today. It was nothing out of the ordinary from the Argentine defender. He was not up to his usual performance, I think, today.
Yeah, the
Definitely
whole team
below.
was not at their usual performance. Guti, though, got some crunching tackles, won the ball back a good number of times. One time he won the ball back in defense and dribbled it straight right into our attack, and we were on the front foot, which was really good from him. I believe that was in the first half. Guti, probably our best defender today.
I believe he spent a lot of time in the front third of the pitch today. He was occupying a lot of space up with Kane and Son, trying to help us get a goal. Never ended up happening, but you know, at least having an extra man up there helps. But yeah, not a lot wrong from Romero. We'll move on to his defensive partner, Clement Lenglet. I'm going to give Lenglet a 6.
I'm going to give Lenglet a 6.5.
He's better in a center of a back three than the left side of the back three.
Yeah, I can definitely say that. He was actually pretty good in attack today. Coming forward, he linked well with Perisic, especially in the first half. In the second half, though, like I said, the whole team pretty much fell off. Lenglet and Perisic, that left side was kind of exposed after Davies had gone off, and we converted to a back four. I think that's where a lot of things went wrong in our defense, when Lenglet had to play the left side in a back four, which did not end up working well for him, and Perisic playing at left back, which he's attacking, which he definitely can't play there.
Yeah.
That's where it all fell apart for him and Lenglet.
Yeah. But he made a couple of mistakes today. The biggest one was like a simple pass that should have been hit way harder right into the feet of a Wolves player, which I think Mateus Nunes just put wide of the post.
No, it was Cunha.
Or sorry, Cunha, yeah. Mateus Cunha, not Nunes. He put it just wide of the post, so we were lucky not to concede there. But other than that, I thought Lenglet was pretty solid.
Yeah, he was solid.
We'll move on to Ben Davies now. I'm going to give him a 6.
I'm going to give Ben Davies a 6.5. Davies, I think, was slightly better than Lenglet. Gave him the same rating, but not by a lot. It was a huge mistake to take him off late in the game, though.
Yeah. I don't know why. I think we would have avoided taking Ben Davies off if we had just made subs earlier.
Yeah.
But we seem like we're too afraid, I guess. We're content with kind of the way we were playing. Stellini, there's just been a new quote from Stellini on why he took so long to make subs. We were playing well and the pace, and we controlled the game. There wasn't reason to change. And that's kind of the reactive nature that Conte and his coaching staff have had a lot this season. Because if you look at Lopetegui, they didn't have necessarily a terrible first half. They kept a clean sheet. They had, I think, one chance. Of course, they were getting dominated, but it was not like, if Conte was in that position, I think he would have made no changes. But Lopetegui was kind of proactive and said, let's bring on some new players, Collins and Traore specifically, to kind of shake it up in midfield and in attack, in defense. And that completely changed the game for Wolves. And so the game flipped on his head, and suddenly Wolves have the advantage. So that was the biggest problem for us. And so, but going back to Davies, he was not bad.
Yeah.
Moving into our wing backs, we'll start with Pedro Porro, who made his third start for Tottenham. I'm going to give him a 6.75.
I'm going to give Pedro Porro a 7. He pretty much impressed today. Yeah. Better than I thought he'd do. He did really well with Kuti behind him. That's the key for him to play well. He needs a good defender behind him like Kuti.
Yeah. Probably one of our, dare I say, the best player on the pitch today, if not one of the best.
I'll say tied with Forster.
Yeah. It's not like you have to do anything crazy to be the best player on the pitch, but definitely his biggest moment of the game was that free kick just before halftime, right on the edge of the box. Perisic was hauled down. Porro was lined up over it, struck it with beautiful accuracy, only for it to hit the crossbar. Actually, the bottom of the crossbar.
Nearly went off the crossbar. It was really unlucky.
Yeah, and so it was very, very close from Pedro Porro. Again, going back to that free kick that Harry Kane took a couple minutes later, I still don't get why Harry Kane didn't just say, okay, Porro, come here and take it. The fact that he said, let me take it, in the 53rd minute of a game where we need the points.
We're desperate for a goal.
And he should know, he hasn't scored a free kick since 2014, and that was a deflected one against Aston Villa. He should have some self-awareness that he's not the best free kick taker in the world, and that Pedro Porro is a better free kick taker. And so I still don't get why he didn't just take it. But overall, he was good.
Yeah, Pedro Porro looked really good today.
His other wingback partner was probably the opposite side of the scale. I'm going to give him a 5 to Ivan Perisic.
I'm also giving Perisic a 5. First half wasn't terrible from him.
He's a weird player.
Yeah. Attacking-wise in the first half was not bad from him. Second half, attacking-wise and defensive-wise, they both fell off. Of course, he did kind of well in the first half, especially because he didn't have to do any defending. Wolves had like one attempt maybe in the whole first half?
He's such a weird player for us because, like, you know he has quality. He's shown it at the World Cup. He's shown it at Inter. But suddenly when he comes here, he just forgets how to cross and shoot. And that problem is backed by the fact that he occupies the same space as Son, which ends up meaning that Perisic is basically rendered useless. Son is rendered useless. So we're literally playing with 9 players instead of 11. And I guess today I can see why he started, because we didn't really have another choice. Although, it would have been interesting to see an Emerson Royale inverted wingback.
That would have been interesting. Of course, we could have just gone with Davies back at left wing back.
We could, but then Dyer would have to.
Dyer in, I don't think that would be
optimal.
Too bad. Yeah. I don't think it would be too bad, because if he has good defenders around him,
then he's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He can get coverage, but I don't know why we could have just started with Davies. We know it worked well against West Ham. We know it worked well against Chelsea.
And if they didn't want to start Dyer, then I think Emerson Royale starting inverted wingback would have been better than Perisic, because this is an experiment that's happened too many times this season. Seeing Perisic start at left wingback and then flopping and having like a 5% cross accuracy the whole game is a storyline that's been repeated about 20 times this season, especially after the World Cup. And I don't know why Conte's and the coaching staff keep thinking to put him in, because it's not working, clearly. The last assist he got was against Crystal Palace, and that was at the beginning of January, I believe. So it's been a long time. But we'll move into midfield now, starting with our midfielder, Oliver Skipp. I'm going to give him a 6.5. I'm
also going to give Oliver Skipp a 6.5. He was not terrible today. Probably on the same level as his midfield partner, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, which we'll get on to later. Skipp, not the best, though, as a whole in midfield, him and Pierre working together. Especially in the second half, we were not controlling the midfield. The Wolves were controlling the midfield.
Which was a result of those early substitutions.
Yes. But first half, he did a good job. Him and Pierre did a good job of controlling the midfield.
Yeah. I thought Skipp was actually a little better than Højbjerg overall. I thought he was a little quicker, a little more progressive in the first half, I think. But of course, in the second half, it was all about really just trying. Second half was weird because we just kind of came back out trying to do the same thing, but Wolves read us like a book, and those subs helped them completely take over the game, and suddenly we're getting split open. The defenders forget how to defend. Midfield, like, we forget how to defend that game because first half was literally just us attacking. So, I mean, it was a really weird game, and it was almost like Wolves caught us out by surprise, which is why our midfield and defense kind of collapsed.
They should not have caught us out by surprise. All they did was make subs, and the only thing the simplest thing that we could do to counteract that is just make subs for us, get some fresh legs on, which we didn't do.
Yeah. We'll move to his midfield partner, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg now. I'm going to give Højbjerg a 6.
I'm going to give Pierre a 6.5.
Same story as Skip. Like, they controlled the midfield, of course, first half. Second half, they completely fell off because we fell off as a team. Højbjerg, of course, he was kind of like... It was definitely below the quality of his normal performances. But it's not like he was categorically bad. He didn't make mistakes. But he just also wasn't able to control the midfield in the second half, which I think, again, owes back to the fact that we didn't make enough changes tactically, substitution-wise, for us to control the game, which means Wolves overload us.
Yeah. I think a good shout could have been to bring Pop Sarr on.
Pop Sarr on to reinforce the midfield.
He could impact the game.
Try and help us. That's been a common mistake of our coaching staff this year, is feeling like our midfield has enough people to control the whole wide pitch, because 2 players has never been enough. They do so much running, and then it's like we're taken aback every time the other team starts to come forward because we have no midfielders.
We're working them down to the ground pretty much with this formation, because Perisic and Pedro Porro, this did not happen in the first half, but in the second half when they had to defend, Pierre and Skip were kind of just there because Perisic and Pedro Porro were not in line with them, helping them out.
Also, our defenders are not that good. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Longley and Davies are not the quality that you need in a back 3 team, like the way Conte wants to play.
I think Longley. Well, we don't know about Longley, but Davies would be much better in a back 4.
Yeah,
a lot
100%.
better.
Left back in a back 4, I think 100%.
Gucci too.
Yeah, I agree, but it's just it doesn't work because then, the opposition make a change and they start overloading midfield and we do nothing in response. We just say, oh, let's keep going with our 2 midfielders and run them into the ground. Højbjerg has played like 95% of the available minutes that we've had as a club in the Premier League. And we've kind of run both, like any of our midfield players, we run them to the ground because Conte's so stubborn to just make a little formation change and give Sarr or Basuma a run out in midfield to at least give them a test and, give us a chance of winning the game. Because he's just so stubborn to divert away from that 3-5-2 formation or 3-4-3 or whatever he likes to play. Moving into the front 3, we will start with Dejan Kulusevski. I'm going to give him a 6.75.
I'm going to give Dicky a 6.5.
I thought he was probably our best player today in that forward half.
Yeah, he made no mistakes pretty much. First half was a good half for him. He had one really good shot from a really weird angle.
Yeah.
Managed to get it. I think it was pretty much on target. It was going to hit the post. And Jose Sa made a pretty good save to deny him.
But he was probably the most lively of our front 3 today.
In the second half, though, he was just not involved because we were not really going down the right-hand side. A lot was going down the left and through the center, where Pedro Porro was involved, but we were going through the center. Kulusevski was kind of staying wide, but no one was really passing to him. He was not very involved. Yeah,
Kulu is still he's still not back at his optimal form that we saw him at the World.
He's getting better, though.
He's getting better, though. Yeah, a lot better, but no help, really.
Yeah.
We'll move on to our next player, Harry Kane, who played as striker today. I'm going to give him a 6.
I'm going to give Harry Kane a 5.5.
He was very mid today. Very mediocre.
Very mid. I don't think he was at his sharpest form. He was definitely not at his sharpest form. He was not sharp on the ball.
He was messing up a lot of easy passes.
Yeah.
Now, this can also owe to the fact that they had Mario Lemina sticking to Harry Kane like they were glued together. I mean, Lamina followed Kane everywhere he
It
went.
was like Lamina was the cat and Kane was the mouse.
Yeah. They were attracted to each other everywhere they went, and Lamina really kept Kane quiet. But when Kane did break away from Lamina, I just feel like he wasn't pulling off the passes that he normally would. And so he was definitely very off it today. Not many chances in front of goal. And I think that was a big part, again, of our problem, because Tottenham don't know how to perform when Harry Kane can't perform.
Recently, his finishing, too. That last chance against Sheffield United. Not a good finish. I mean,
that was tough.
It was tough. The cross was behind him, but today, too, we saw it with his passing.
Yeah.
His passing.
He just wasn't up there today.
He wasn't making the best decisions. He wasn't making the best
His decisions were fine, I think. It was just the execution.
I think he was passing, his long balls especially, were passing to people who were seemed open but weren't. And then, I think it was on the left side, he tried to go to Perisic sometimes, and Semedo just came up and took the ball in the air.
Yeah. So his passing was definitely a little off today, which I think could owe a lot to the fact that we performed poorly, but, like, really, the whole first half was just us getting the ball forward but not being able to finish. We had 22 shots this game, and none of them resulted in goals, which is kind of embarrassing when you think about the players that we have in the forward part of our squad, a forward part of our pitch, and this game was just a culmination of every problem that's at the club.
Yeah.
It comes from the management for not, making those changes. Conte's team for not making those changes. For not setting up right. For not resisting Wolves' changes right. It comes from ownership for not getting rid of those players. Not getting new players in. Because then we're settling with players like Perisic, like Longley, like Ben Davies. So we're forced to kind of, make do with what we have. It goes to the players because they weren't good enough in the second half, 100%. Our front three weren't good enough in the first half. We had so many chances, should have finished off at least one of them. Our back line was constantly being caught out in the second half, same with our midfield. So it was just a highlighting the problem. Every problem that is at Spurs, this match highlighted. And our last player on the team sheet was Heung-min Son. I'm going to give Heung-min Son a 6, same rating as Kane in my opinion. He hit the bar once right after the return from halftime. It was a pretty solid shot from him, but hitting the bar, he looked okay today.
Yeah, he was definitely better than Kane. I'm giving him a 6.5. That shot where he hit the crossbar right after the break, that was more characteristic of Son, that little step over and then veering to the left and taking a shot, nearly scored with it. And he's starting to come back to his usual form. Today, though, made minor improvements to his game, but I think it was a step down from West Ham and performances like that.
Yeah. Son, he dropped back a lot more today because Perisic played, but he did better in midfield, I think. He was able to get onto the ball more, making more runs through midfield. More dribbles, which was nice to see. Crossing was a little bit off, especially from corners. I think his crossing is a bit wayward sometimes, but definitely better than we've seen. A lot better than Sheffield United. We can say that. But still not great. Still not great. But that's it for our player ratings from Tottenham's 1-0 loss to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. If you enjoyed, make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button if you want to see more Spurs content. Comment down below what your thoughts on this game were. And until next time,
come on, you Spurs!